Hey, Shine members. So, welcome to episode 1 of Pillars of Wellness. I am super excited to be going live today, more than I ever have before, because I feel like finally all the years that I've spent in different places, different areas of health and wellness, it's kind of come full circle into my life lately. And so I'm super excited to share that with you because in my deepest part of my heart or what I'm supposed to do, I'm a teacher. That's what I love to do. So a lot of you know I've been involved in the fitness industry for is it 25 years now in some capacity? And really, it started way back when out of necessity because I was the only girl in my program studying conservation enforcement. And I was little and I had to be strong. And so I hit the gym out of necessity to build muscle to try to keep up with these guys, right? And then after leaving that job after I got married, there happened to be just at our local college this fitness knowledge course that was offered, and I signed up. Like I'm gonna take that course because it was always something that interested me, and it began the path to a career in fitness. And I can say I am still just as fascinated with the human body as I have ever been. So, I started as a personal trainer. I've managed gyms. I owned a studio. I used to write a newspaper column for 3 different papers in northern BC, right? Studied yoga. Pilates, as you guys know, is near and dear to my heart. But I've had all these different jobs in the fitness industry, but also have a huge wealth of knowledge from my own interest in exercise, nutrition, and really into alternative forms of healing the body, right? When my niece lived here last year, learning about traditional Chinese medicine, like fascinating functional medicine, like so many things that I think can help people. Everything can help people, right? But there's also been this thing in my life where, it's like all of us, we're like, what's the new trend? We jump on the new trend. We're always trying to reach some goal with our health, with our fitness. Definitely changed. I used to run half marathons. Now I'm like just trying to like feel my best, right? But I think I've tended to overcomplicate it a lot in my life. I think a lot of us do. We live in this time and place where there's so much information coming at us constantly that we don't even know where to look. We're like, should I be drinking this much water? Is green tea good? Should I be doing Pilates? Should I be doing CrossFit? Like, it's just too much, right? And I love everything. So I was trying to do it all and it didn't work. And what I learned, like, here's the big moment of this live, is health doesn't have to be complicated. There really are 4 simple pillars of health that we need to focus on. And what are those? Well, if we sleep well, if we eat well, if we move well, and if we think well, we're really going to have that foundation piece in place. And it's very interesting because each one of these elements is linked to the other. So if we don't sleep well, we're probably not going to move well. If we don't eat well, we're not going to sleep well. If we're not thinking good, we're not going to do any of these things well. So it's the idea of we can't just look at one thing. We need to intersperse it all because we're these very dynamic beings, but yet very, very simple. So if you're wanting to feel better, it's really important that you just focus on small changes. Now, I think about how many times, and I'm sure you've seen my posts, right? Where I'm like, I'm on the treadmill, I'm training for a half marathon, or I'm doing a 5K, I'm back at the gym, right? Like I jump in and I jump, like many of us, it's like I jump all in and it's like all or nothing. I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week and I'm going to be there for 2 hours. Well, we know that doesn't work. We tend to fail when we have that all or nothing mentality. So instead, we need to focus on these small little, like really just 1% incremental changes. And every time we make a small little adjustment to one of our habits around sleeping, eating, moving, thinking, it affects the entire circle, the entire being. But then this other thing kind of happened recently. Well, not recently, because I'm 47, but we think about the chapters of life, right? So also my fitness goals in each chapter were very distinct, very unique. But when I turned 40, you should ask my husband about that. It's actually comical what he'd have to say about when I turned 40. He's like, you just switched. You just were like, you're a different person. And I don't want to say it was a midlife crisis, but I'm sure, can you guys relate? You turn 40 and you're like, whoa, like, how did that happen already? And you're looking not so much back. Well, you're looking at what you did, but you're looking at where do I want to go? And did what I do so far actually get me to where I go? Where do I even want to go? Right. And so I find each decade of life is super fascinating. My 30s, to be honest, like we should be playing magic music right now because my 30s were a time like they were awesome. They were just awesome. I was doing great, crazy things, living life. I was happy. I was content. I was confident, more confident than I am now. And then 40 hit, and I was just like, ooh, who am I? What am I doing? And I think a lot of us are there, right? So I had kids later in life. So now I have, went from little kids to have teenagers and one tween now. And they're growing and they don't need you so much. But I have these kids at home, but I also have parents that are aging. And that's not an easy. Nobody wrote a book on teenagers and nobody wrote a book on how to deal with aging parents, especially when you live so far away and you can't be there to help. Like, oh, my heart, I tell you. So we've got all these things going on. And then, of course, we have the hormones, right? And we're in this stage, or I've been in perimenopause since age 36. And so life is a little bit more complicated for sure than it was, in the 20s. So I want to start coming in every week and I want to talk about one of these pillars of health. And I'm going to start off today a little bit contentious. Some of you might be like, Becky, I don't like what you're saying. So we're going to talk about hormones. We have to stop blaming our hormones. Now, some of you are probably like, what? But I'm 40, I'm 45, my hormones are out of whack. Yeah, they might be. They very well might be. And I know, does this ever happen to you? Like you're having an off day and then your husband will be like, oh, are you getting your period? And it makes me mad. And then I'm like, hold up, Becky. I actually basically trained him to say that because every time I'm having a bad day, I'll be like, oh, it's my hormones. Oh, I must be getting my period. But that's often, well, it is the case, but maybe it's not the case. And here's what I mean. Hormones get a bad rap when we have to stop blaming them because the most important question is you need to ask yourself is what happened that caused your hormones to get out of balance? What's the root cause of that? So I've got kids. I'm not eating as well. I had McDonald's today, but I really love a McDonald's breakfast. I had Alexis at an appointment in the city, had to drop her off at school. I slept in late, didn't eat before I left. So we got like the McDonald's breakfast sandwich, no judgment, right? But didn't fuel my body that well with nutrition. So I'm not necessarily eating well. And then I think about my parents and some medical appointments they have coming up. And I think about actually the last year with Alexis and her medical issues. And I had huge amounts of cortisol going through my body, the stress hormone, right? And so all of these things have impacted me I'm actually at the point where I'm like, am I done? Am I in menopause? When is my period coming back? Sorry if that's too much information, but what's the root cause? And especially at this age, right? We're tired. We have busy working lives. There are so many factors. And so I want you to ask yourself, how are you doing? With your sleep? Are you getting enough sleep? But typically lack of sleep, poor nutrition, doing the wrong exercise for your body, that's a really big one. And we're going to talk about that in the coming weeks because for most women, if you're over 40, super high intensity interval stuff, HIIT training can be good. I shouldn't say that, but really high intense stuff sometimes isn't what we need. We don't need to be at the gym for 2 hours anymore. I'm diverging here, but we're probably going to get more benefit of 15 minutes of focused, actually high intensity interval training than we are of 2 hours of weight training at the gym, right? So perhaps doing the wrong exercise for your body. We'll talk about that just as its own segment. Or negative thinking, because the mindset, and especially with what we've just went through in the past couple of years and we got so isolated at home, our mindset. I know it's been tricky. Like I've had to do so much work, and thankfully I'm always reading some kind of personal development work to keep me above it. But I want us to start to look at these things: lack of sleep, poor nutrition. How are we moving our bodies? How are we thinking? And what if we looked at those and identified what the root cause was? What's the root issue? What are we doing that's actually causing our hormones to fall out of balance? And imagine what you could do for your health. There is no quick fix. I teach fitness, I teach wellness. People sometimes come to me and they're like, okay, I want to do Pilates. So I broke my back 20 years ago and I've been sitting at my desk for 20 years, not moving. And they're like, can you fix me? And I'm like, well, we can put you on the path towards wellness, but it's not going to be a quick fix. And some people leave. They're like, well, no, I want to be fixed today. And the truth is, I want you to love the journey. Love the journey. I spent so much time in my 20s at the gym trying to arrive somewhere. Well, I never, ever, ever did arrive at like the six-pack bikini body because I really also like to eat ice cream with my children. And so I actually love this part of getting older. I love the fact that I have a role and it doesn't stress me out anymore because I'm like, okay, I birthed 3 babies. Pretty cool that my body did that. But I've changed my entire perception of what I want to look at wellness. I'm probably rambling now, but this is my vision. I want to come in here every single week and I want to share with you guys something that I'm learning because I love to teach others what I'm learning, what I'm passionate about, and truly help each of you live your best life. Not because we fixed some miraculous, we gave you a Pilates move and your back doesn't hurt, or you have this magic supplement, because there's no one thing. But we can take those things, right? We can take mindful movement. We can take, good quality supplements. We can take some personal development work and we can utilize those things to help us really optimize our journey, our path to wellness. Because, let's be honest, we're all on the same path. It doesn't really end well for any of us right at the end. Sorry, that might sound bad. But can we live our best on that path? And I don't know why I'm so psyched up about this, but I think instead of going, oh, I'm getting old, perimenopause, blah, my hormones, I want to say, yay, I love my body. I love the lessons I've learned on the way here. And I want to create this community of women that just are like fired up about loving being 40, 50, and beyond, right? My grandma Sadie, for any of you guys that met her, if you know her, say hello in the comments, or if you knew her, she was just right up until the end. She was so vibrant. She lived to be 103. She lived on the farm almost right up until the end of that. I never once heard her say, oh, I don't look good in a bathing suit. She's like, hey, come on over, have a visit. Really just live those core values. Okay, that's all I got. Because I'm actually going to get my roots dyed because I haven't quite embraced gray hair yet. But anyway, I would love to invite you to join me here in this space every Thursday. There might be a few rabbit holes I jump into, but we're going to really just talk about different elements of wellness. Some will resonate with you, some may not, but we're going to learn together. And I would invite you, who do you know, right? Especially if you're over 40, who do you know that you can invite into the community? I'd love to have some guest speakers to come in and just share their knowledge. Let's do this next chapter together. Let's do this next chapter together because I am tired of being alone in the house. We've been there for 2 years and I just want to connect with all of you and really see if we can't shine our light bright for the entire world to see and just truly to live our best life and teach other women how to do the same. Okay, thank you for watching. Come back next week into this space. I'm not sure what I'm talking about next, but we're going to talk about the pillars of health: sleep, eat, move, and think. 1% changes, ladies, and we are going to transform our lives. All right, have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.